hosts. I'm Diane Bortoletto.
And I'm Monique Chicado.
Let's do it.
Hello, and welcome to And Away We Go F1 podcast, a Formula One podcast that goes beyond the track limits to talk about travel, food, and lifestyle surrounding the sport. I'm Diane Bortoletto, your pre-Drive to Survive fan, and today I'm in a very sunny Margaret River.
And I'm Monique Chicado, your post-Drive to Survive fan, and today I'm sitting in, surprisingly, a very sunny Bergen.
Bergen? Where is Bergen, Mon? Tell us.
Bergen is southwest Norway, so it's actually about a 4-hour drive north of where I live in Norway, but it is known to be the rainiest place in all of Norway, and somehow I've managed, this is my second day of sunshine. It's been pretty amazing so far. Norway's a great place to travel, everyone. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, Monique doing her bit for Visit Norway. Mon, we are 6 races in to the Formula One season, a quarter of the way through the season.
Oh, don't say that.
I can't believe how much has happened in 6 races. So far, we've had 3 different race winners in Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, and who've won a race each, and Oscar Piastri has won 4 races this season.
I can't believe that.
It's so good, isn't it? He's already doubled the amount of wins that he had last year, like this year, and we're only a quarter of a way through the season.
It's crazy to think that we're only a quarter of the way through the season. On one hand, it feels like we've had so much racing because there's so much that's happened, like you've said, in these 6 races. But on the other hand, when you say a quarter of the way through, my heart starts beating faster because I don't want it to end.
I know.
It's been a crazy 6 weeks.
With 3 different winners in the season so far. And we've got the Australian Oscar Piastri leading the charge, leading the driver standings, and McLaren, of course, leading the constructor standings. And it's all looking very positive for McLaren this year to win the constructors. And the fight is on for the drivers. It's very much an Oscar-Lando battle, but we can't discount other drivers such as Max Verstappen, who you can never, ever discount him. Even in a car that's not the fastest car, he's still winning, won a race, and he's still getting pole positions and
podiums.
And podiums, exactly. And George Russell as well is still up there getting podiums and scoring good points. It's still wide open this season, which is awesome.
There's a front wing regulation change coming up, and there's been a lot of talk about whether that might impact McLaren negatively or they still maintain their dominance, or whether it will see, the Red Bull all of a sudden become a whole lot more competitive. So we've got that to look forward to as well, which could upset the balance. It could go Oscar's way still, or it could go someone else's way for the championship. Who knows? That would be interesting to see.
The first 6 weeks has been chock-a-block, full of on-track and off-track action and drama. And let's just address the elephant in the room right now and talk about Alpine.
Oh, God.
Other Australian Jack Doohan was axed from the team, relegated to reserve driver for Alpine after just 6 races in a brutal move by Alpine. And this comes 12 hours after the team principal, Ollie Oakes, resigned.
Yeah.
So that puts Flavio Briatore at the helm of Alpine, a guy who got banned from Formula One for life in 2009.
Yeah.
For life. And that decision was overturned by a French court on procedural grounds. So my research tells me.
Oh, come on. If you listened to last week's episode, you would have heard me and my very, very strong opinion on Helmut Marko being in an advisory role. And my very, very strong opinion comes from the fact that Helmut Marko is quite old. And I have nothing against elderly people. Or what I have is,
that's nice. That's good.
I know, right? Obviously, I have nothing against elderly people. They're wonderful people. They have such a lifetime of experience. But that lifetime of experience in Formula One, when you have come from an era where you are so brutal and you have absolutely zero room for emotion, feeling, care. Compassion, right?
Exactly.
When you have none of that, I have a problem with that. And now we've got someone exactly the same, but in fact, probably even worse, given his
cheating scandals in the past.
Exactly.
And there's been several. Only one he got punished for, which resulted in a ban for life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no fine, no penalty points, banned from Formula One for life. I still can't get my head around how he's even allowed back into the sport,
Right.
and now running a team.
Right.
You know,
It's like it's gone from bad to worse. You weren't allowed in the sport. All of a sudden you're allowed. Like maybe we could have let that one slide and been like, oh, that's a pretty bad move, allowing him to be an advisor when he's been banned for life. But then to be the principal of the team, it all smells very fishy, given that Ollie Oakes resigned effective immediately. And then so soon after, Doohan was axed from the team. And it all smells very fishy. And it's even fishier that there have been official announcements made on the Alpine media from Flavio and apparently from Ollie Oakes. Flavio is saying, oh, there's been no butting heads. It was all very civil and this is nothing to do with personal issues. This is bullcrap. It's got nothing to do with personal issues. I'm sorry.
Well, you might not have seen the other news that's come out, Monique, is that Oliver Oakes' brother,
Yes.
William, has been arrested for having criminal property, a massive bag of cash
Yes.
that he got arrested with. And they've got links back to Marzipan. Did I say that right?
Mazepin.
Whose father has links to Vladimir Putin.
He's an oligarch.
Yeah, which is why Mazepin got
dropped.
told he couldn't race in Formula One anymore. The European Union had sanctions against Russia when they invaded Ukraine. So really soon after that happened, the transfer of the high-tech team in Formula 2 went from Mazepin's dad to William Oakes and Oliver Oakes.
Sure.
But allegedly there was they said he sold the team to them, but there was no exchange of cash, no contract with a cash amount that anybody has witnessed or seen or come across. So they're saying that the Oakes brothers
dodgy
are acting as a proxy for Daddy Mazepin.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know, right? So the Daily Telegraph, an English newspaper, asked Oliver Oakes about the arrest of his brother at the Miami Grand Prix, because his brother had only just been arrested when that happened, and Oliver Oakes refused to comment. Then a couple of days later, he resigns. 12 hours later, Jack gets axed. At first, on the surface, it looked like those two things were related.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, Oliver Oakes was being a good bloke and standing up for Jack and unhappy about the driver swap. And Briatore's gone, like it or lump it, and Ollie's gone, see you later. But there's massive whole political criminal investigations.
Oh, little juicy.
And Oliver Oakes is currently in Dubai, allegedly.
The more time that I've had between it all happening and now, and the more that I've seen and read and thought about it, at first, you got my messages. They were very, very angry. We were both very angry.
Oh, we were fuming at the treatment of Jack doing. I still think it is brutal, and I'm still not very happy with it. I've been thinking about this, as you have. Another part of me that thinks if you run a football team, you put the best players on for those conditions, right? So what's stopping a Formula One team where the drivers aren't in contention to win the Drivers' Championship? Why wouldn't you swap out drivers to say, he's really good in the wet, it's going to be a wet race, let's get this driver in.
Yeah.
Or he's really fast on a circuit that's got slow corners, for example, or a really technical tight circuit.
Yeah.
He knows this circuit really well, let's put him in.
Yeah.
I dug around the FIA Formula One sporting regulations. Fascinating read.
I bet.
There is a section about drivers in there, and they have to nominate 4 drivers. So the teams don't have an endless bench of drivers, because each driver has to have a super license, which is,
hard and expensive. And
yeah, exactly. But it just got me thinking, I wonder why more teams don't swap out drivers to suit.
And I think the reason that it does seem so brutal and weird at the moment is because it doesn't happen that often. Hey, this year is an exceptional circumstance because it has happened
It's already happened
twice.
exactly with Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah.
It's happened twice this season already, and we're only 6 races in. So it's not an exceptional circumstance this year.
And it happened last year as well. And last season, Daniel Ricciardo was out, and then Logan Sargent was out. Esteban Ocon missed the last race.
Nick de Vries.
Yes, Nick de Vries, yes.
It's happening more and more. So I think it was David Croft actually said, and it sounded really brutal reading it, but the more you think about it, it's very true. He's like, Formula One's not a finishing school. Formula One is the real deal. On one hand, yes, brutal, because of course you kind of need to foster new talent and you can't expect everyone that comes in to be absolutely amazing. But at the same time, it isn't a finishing school. It's the pinnacle of the sport. So how long can you hold on and foster someone?
Foster. It's a good word, Monique, because have they fostered their drivers? All of these drivers that we've just talked about that have been given the boot. And this brings us to Netflix and The Seat doco, which I've been very excited to watch. It's only 40 minutes about Kimi Antonelli getting the seat in Mercedes. Now, when they chose him, they were like, right, we've got 3 months to get you up to speed, so nothing is a surprise on race day. And they spent tireless amount of hours of him driving and practicing pit stops. So he knew exactly what to do coming into the pits, and media training and all of those things that are part of being a Formula One driver. So they really have nurtured him. And yes, okay, Mercedes has a very competitive car, but he is getting results, right?
We haven't seen him have accidents.
He's not making too many mistakes. He's getting results. So look at the difference of the investment that Mercedes put in to Kimi Antonelli early on and then more recently before the season started, and nurturing this young talent to becoming a competitive Formula One driver who's, my gosh, so young and green, like 18, to the other drivers where they're just like, oh, you're not performing, you're out. It's brutal.
It really is. It really is. And okay, so these drivers that have come from Formula 2 and stepping into Formula 1, it's a big, big gap. And that gap needs to be bridged somehow. And that gap isn't bridged by going get in a Formula 1 car and drive. It's bridged by exactly what you've said. Practicing pit stops. It's media training. It's practicing your start. It's practicing everything.
Yeah, work on the sim to get to know all of the circuits.
It's heartbreaking for Jack. It really, really is.
Oh,
and
gosh.
especially when literally from the start of the season, we've had the nipping at the heels of Colapinto. And Colapinto's fans are awful. I have to say, they are awful.
Argentinian fans are extremely passionate, extremely one-eyed, and extremely feisty. They've got that Latin feisty blood. Yes, Argentinians are very active.
They're cutthroat. It's just so awful. There's been so much bullying online, both for Jack, for the team, and it's awful to see. And I don't know, it kind of kills me, I think, a little bit that Colapinto comes with that fan base and supposedly comes with money as well. And
loads of money.
Right? Because of the sponsorship potential, because of all of this, because of his fans. And that kind of makes it all a little bit dirtier for me. It's not just about maybe Jack not being good enough, in inverted commas, for Alpine.
It's about the money.
Yeah.
And the fan base, with those fans, they buy merch. So that's another massive opportunity for revenue for Alpine, especially like a country like Argentina, where their fans are renowned for being so passionate. And they haven't had an Argentinian driver in Formula One for, gosh, I don't even know, the longest time.
I don't know. It's been a very interesting time for Alpine.
Interesting? I'd call it turbulent.
That's the nice way to say. I also found it weird that they swapped out a driver because they aren't challenging for championships. And it's not like Doohan was behind Gasly by a mile every single time he raced. So you're a backmarker team. Why was it that important for you to swap out when you thought they weren't doing so well, when you're not fighting for anything?
But every time they score championship points as a constructor, that's millions of dollars that they get given as a team, to the team. So scoring points is still super important for them. Colapinto last year shown his worth driving in the Williams, and he was very competitive to start with, and then had a horror run of like crashing 5 times in 3 races. Colapinto's a very exciting driver to watch. Just a massive shame that it's at the expense of Australian Jack Doohan, who we were so excited to see on the grid. Let's hope that this makes Jack fight super hard and just be stronger and come back even bigger and better. And let's hope.
In a better seat.
Yeah, or come back to Alpine later after Colapinto's 5 races that he's contracted for. And let's
just to touch on what you said about it being very important that you get as many points as you can in the constructors because you obviously get more money.
Yep.
Doohan's not the only pointless driver on the championship standings at the moment.
That's true.
Alonso hasn't got a point, and Alonso is a multiple race winner with
2-time world champion.
Like 75 years of experience.
Yes, Alonso is a very experienced driver. Alonso, funny enough, also entered Formula One under Flavio Briatore.
There you go.
There you go. Fun fact.
See, 75 years ago. But Alonso hasn't got a point. Lawson hasn't got a point in the
V-Carb, Racing Bulls.
The Racing Bulls. Bortoletto hasn't got a point in the Kick Sauber, but like, let's be honest, the Kick Sauber is literally like that ancient rusty tractor that you'd see on the Australian farm. It's not the nice John Deere tractor that's all brand new and green and electronic and lovely. It's that rusty old bucket of a tractor. So we're not surprised that Bortoletto doesn't have a point in the Kick Sauber. Surprised about Alonso, to be honest, and my predictions at the start of the year about Lawson losing his seat from Red Bull, I'm also not surprised that he doesn't have a point in the V-Carb. I'm not going to lie.
He's struggling quite a bit, isn't he, Lawson? And probably pushing too hard to try and prove himself and making mistakes. And where he is qualifying on the grid is also really hard because he's just in traffic and surrounded by cars. So you push a bit hard and you clip someone's tyre or someone clips your tyre and race over.
Which is exactly what happened in Miami, which is exactly why Jack Doohan was out first lap because he got clipped. He ended up with a massive puncture and he was out. So again, going back to Jack Doohan and him being dropped, he's had some really bad luck in a lot of his races. He's had quite a few DNFs that weren't his fault. He's been crashed into, it's been a racing incident. And you can't blame a kid. You know, you can't say that he's not been doing well when it's a racing incident and it's very unlucky. I mean, Sainz had a few of those too. There's been racing incidents that have really let his race down because, you know, he's been clipped by someone so you've got to take that into account as well.
Well, if you're Flavio Briatore, apparently not.
Oh, God. Oh, can you tell that we're really happy about this decision, guys?
It's heartbreaking. It's going to take a little while to get over. And I really liked Franco Colapinto last year, and this year, look, it's not his fault. Like every Formula One driver is going to do what they can to try and get a race seat. Well, Oscar Piastri is coming into McLaren, saw our beloved Daniel Ricciardo out of a seat.
Exactly. This is what happens.
Yeah.
You get heartbroken for a little bit, and then all of a sudden Oscar Piastri becomes your favourite driver because you realise he's not actually that bad of a person.
And it's not his fault. He's just doing what every driver wants to do, and that's get a Formula One race seat, you know, which is...
Exactly. That's the name of the game.
Moving on to the FIA, this is exciting, a very exciting rumour that Carlos Sainz Sr.
Yes, please.
To become FIA president. The elections are at the end of the year.
I've cast my vote. I will post it in and I will tell them that I want Carlos Sainz as the FIA president.
I think that's a really good move. I mean, some people have said, is it a conflict of interest with his son in Formula One? But I don't think so. I think he would be professional enough that it wouldn't be a conflict of interest. Just like the Wolves, Susie and Toto Wolff, are professional enough to keep their Formula One interests in F1 Academy and the Mercedes F1 team separate.
Exactly.
He's well-liked. He's got the credentials.
Yeah.
He's raced in multiple disciplines of motorsport. I think he's
very successful in it too.
Exactly. So, like he's a multiple Dakar. Like he won Dakar as a 60-year-old. It's massive, like the toughest motorsport race in the world. Carlos Sainz senior would be a really good candidate for FIA president. And there's lots of going ons at the FIA at the moment as well. So the current FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, known as Ben, is a bit marred in some controversy as well. So his deputy, Robert Reid, just recently resigned just last month in April, in a statement that said there were growing alarm over critical decisions being made without due process or proper consultation. When I took on this role, it was to serve the FIA's members, not to serve power. I mean, they're pretty strong words.
Ooh, that's a big statement.
There's more. Over time, I have witnessed a steady erosion of the principles we promised to uphold. Decisions are being made behind closed doors, bypassing the very structures and the people the FIA exists to present.
Wow.
So that's pretty much saying I left because there's corruption and a power-hungry boss who's just making self-serving decisions, or decisions that he doesn't agree with, or just making decisions without going through any process. Like the swearing ban is a great example, you know?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That just honestly is so ridiculous. I mean, I have to be so careful in how I talk on this podcast when I get passionate about things, because there are cuss words on the right. They're like, it's on the tip of our tongue, and we're Australian.
We did take a policy when we started this podcast to not swear, because we know swearing can be really jarring to you guys as you're listening. I feel like we are eloquent enough that we can express ourselves and get our point across without the use of cuss.
Exactly. But in the instance of a race driver, when you are in the heat of the moment, when you are like, I totally get not being allowed to swear in a press conference.
Agreed.
If you're on the radio and something happened and you're in the heat of the moment, like, you're going to swear. It happens. You can see it on the AFL football field. You can literally see the guys' mouths moving. And you can tell exactly what they've said.
Pretty much every single sport, not just AFL football field. It's
cricket
football matches, soccer matches, cricket. Yeah, the sledging in cricket.
Yeah.
Loads of sports all around the world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's really ridiculous to try and ban swearing from a very high intensity situation.
Literally a life and death sport. A life and death sport.
Right?
Come on.
And we've seen Max Verstappen be very vocal about his opinions on the FIA, and Ben is often down there having words to Max, because I think Max would love to say a lot more than he can about the FIA, but he's threatened by and bans for speaking too much.
Penalties with points?
Yep. But for speaking too much about what's happened.
And the World Rally drivers, in fact, refused to do media conferences.
I saw that.
In English, and would only do media conferences in their own language in protest of the FIA's swearing rule.
It's a pretty big statement, because there's not much that you can do for fear of being reprimanded by points or fines or whatever, but they did nothing wrong by only speaking in their own language.
Exactly.
But it sent a very, very powerful message. It's going to be nice to see a change of power in the FIA. It's always nice to have a shake-up.
There were rumours going around that Susie Wolff is also in the running, but she quashed those rumours. I don't think those rumours hold any weight.
Her focus is Formula One Academy, and I have the utmost respect for her for saying, no, this is my focus. This is what I'm doing. And you know, that's enough on her plate at the moment. But she would have been amazing, not just because such a formidable force, but imagine having a female FIA president. Like,
I know, and she's just so smart and accomplished.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe in the next term, maybe
we'll see.
And something else I wanted to bring up is, well, we touched on the seat, Kimi Antonelli, which I really liked. It was actually 40 minutes well spent. In fact, I might sit there and watch it again. Oh, he's so young and he's so endearing. Every driver should be making these little mini docos. And I know you're not into them, Monique. I know you don't like anything that's too Hollywood or all of these spin-off series, etc. But It was really well done, and it showed a really beautiful side of Kimi Antonelli and his family. And it was actually really good to see. Of course, it put Mercedes in a positive light, but WhatsApp sponsored this documentary. And so they had all these like messages on WhatsApp being shown on the screen as well, how the management team, how they all communicate through WhatsApp. So I thought that was really quite cool, actually.
Yeah, I think my initial hesitation towards that episode, because it's not a series and it's not a movie, to that episode or that short doco was that Kimi Antonelli has raced 6 races and, okay, he got that seat. But what about all these other fantastic stories in Formula One in the last few years that we haven't seen documentaries about? It just seemed like a weird documentary to have released.
All those other drivers need WhatsApp to sponsor them so that they can get a doco made.
Well, Quadlock, come on. Where's Oscar Piastri's documentary?
Good.
Come on, Quadlock.
Quadlock, where is? I've got my Quadlock case right here.
Come on, Quadlock. More sponsorships. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes, we're here. And away we go, f1podcast@gmail.com.
I guess depending on who makes the docos, because I've watched some absolutely fabulous F1 adjacent docos and movies and stuff like that. Just depends who's producing it, which this is probably a good segue right now as well, actually, is the F1 movie that's coming out. I have voiced my opinions on just the trailer so far, and it looks so overproduced and so Hollywood that I'm not excited about it. You told me last week that the soundtrack, there was a song released from the soundtrack. It was a lovely day in Norway and we're having a barbecue outside, and I was like, fine, I'll listen to the song. And it's Lose My Mind by Don Toliver and Doja Cat. Put it on and it is every bit as overproduced as the movie looks like it's going to be. Right. In my opinion. Did you get to listen to the song?
I listened to the whole playlist. So I've had the playlist going, the F1.
But that's not the official playlist. That's not the official soundtrack.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got that
confusing.
No. So that's...
Yeah, I thought that too when I started listening to it. But it's just they've released one song from the soundtrack and it was that song. Because the playlist was good.
Yeah, the playlist was excellent. Oh, excellent. Some kind of real rappy music, which isn't to my taste.
Yeah, it was funny actually, because this playlist, it's inspired by the movie. And the very first song on the playlist is Lose My Mind, which is the actual song that has been released. And I was like, whatever. You could play it a million times and I'd probably still not know what it is. It's just not my kind of music. It's just, I'm not interested in it. And then the second song on the playlist is the Formula One theme song. We were in our backyard barbecuing and it came on and we're both like, and I laughed so much. I was like, oh my gosh, we look like the biggest idiots listening to the Formula One theme song while we're barbecuing. But the worst part is this is the best song on the playlist so far.
It's a great track, the Formula One theme song. Look, I have a little confession. I dance to that with my little dog every time when the race starts and that comes on.
Yeah,
I love it.
You don't want to miss it.
No,
it's like the best part.
But the Spotify's playlist, it's called F1 Official Movie Soundtrack Playlist, includes like Ed Sheeran and AC/DC,
Rihanna,
and it's actually pretty good. Besides a few songs. Next thing I want to talk about is the Met Gala, which was held last week, and seeing Lewis Hamilton all dressed up.
The 2025 theme for the Met Gala was super fine, tailoring black style, which means to explore the importance of clothing and style to the formation of black identities in the Atlantic diaspora, and will be arranged by 12 characteristics of black dandyism. It's a very big theme to unpack,
and dandyism is about black people dressing to stand out, to make a statement with what they're wearing. And Lewis Hamilton, of course, was a co-chair of the Met Gala,
which is so exciting. The co-chairs this year were amazing. Coleman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, A$AP Rocky, Pharrell Williams. And we all know just outside of the Met Gala, Pharrell Williams and Lewis Hamilton are style icons. They were perfect to be co-chairs. And Lewis Hamilton has been going to the Met Gala since 2016?
Yeah, I have seen him there over the years, on social media posts. And then somebody had posted Lewis Hamilton at all the Met Galas. I don't know if it was Formula One or can't recall. But I was flicking back through all the photos of him at the Met Gala, and it was like, wow, he's been involved for so long. Like, that's like 10 years, 10 events.
Yeah.
9-10 years. So no, he looked super sharp, and it was just I thought a great theme and perfect for him.
I don't know if you knew the references in his
No.
suit. So he wore this beautiful white tailored suit with like a very dandy hat. And the coat that he had on over his jacket had a big band of cowrie shells. And the cowrie shells, there was a particular culture, and I can't remember which one it is now, but it was a symbol of wealth and a symbol of like your kind of status standing. So the suit was just beautiful. Lewis Hamilton, I think this year he has looked better than he has any year. And I think with a bit of age, he's pretty fine. And he's also matured so much in his style and what he wants to say through what he's wearing. He's just like gone from strength to strength as a fashion icon, I think.
Oh, I totally agree. Let's hope he gets to wear that outfit again. Maybe if he cracks that 8th world title, that'd be a good time to break it out. The last thing on my list is the Lego race, which we briefly talked about last week. But I understand that Formula One is bringing out the whole Lego race in a video.
Oh my God, fun.
I know, so fun, right? I don't think I've seen the drivers all laugh and have such a good time in so long. Like, this Lego activation was just pure genius.
Speaking of Lewis Hamilton, I don't know if you saw his video. I think the Formula One account posted his video, and he was laughing so hard in the background of that video as he was. He was. And they all were. Like, they were laughing because there was some wheel-to-wheel racing, like literal wheel-to-wheel racing. And both cars were laughing so hard at it. And these are guys that drive for a living. They literally drive cars for a living. So to see the joy that they got from driving cars was
at
brilliant.
20 kilometres an hour, mind you, at the top speed.
Right.
It was just a joy to watch, which is, I think, Formula One admins or the F1 admins on social media have read the room. They've seen that those clips are getting lots of traction, that we love watching it as much as the drivers love participating in it. So I think there'll be more to come.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I don't know how many more Lego activations we're going to see, given it took, 56,000 hours? No, that's excessive, Mon.
22,000 hours of 400,000 Lego bricks per car.
So it was a big undertaking. So I don't think we're going to see that every race, but, maybe every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, they could just run those Lego cars as a pre-race entertainment and have different people driving them, local celebrities in each race, perhaps. That could be fun.
I mean, imagine packing that thing down.
Imagine the rebuilds after every race, because people would just crash into each other. I mean, just like the F1 drivers did.
And it was almost purposefully done. So, it's going to happen. It's going to. They're basically dodgem cars.
I remember, it just reminds me when I worked for Rally Australia, and one of the pre-event publicity things that we did with the World Rally drivers was we took them to a golf course, which is called the Vines in the Swan Valley, about 30 minutes out of the city. And the Vines is famous for having kangaroos on the golf course, which is why I thought it would be a great thing to do, because you'd get that Australian scene with kangaroos on the golf course. International drivers would love seeing the kangaroos out in the wild on the golf course. And we gave the drivers golf buggies. Biggest mistake of my PR career. Racing each other. They were going up and down into sand traps and over, golf courses are notoriously hilly on purpose to make it. And I was like, oh my God. And someone turned to me and said, what were you thinking? Letting him behind the wheel of anything? And I went, yeah, good question. Anyway, they all had a ball. Everyone was laughing. No one got hurt. No, nothing got damaged, but I was freaking out.
Thanks so much for joining us again this week, guys. Even though we didn't have a race to talk about this week, there was still so much. So if you liked what you heard, please go to your favorite podcast listening app and leave us a rating and or a review. Both is very welcome. You can also find us and interact with us and all our content on all the social media apps. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You can also find us on email at andawaywegof1podcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Mon. This last week has been action-packed, and this is why we love Formula One. It's as rich and ruthless and dangerous as it gets. So thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for having us in your ears. Thank you, Mon. Until next time, and until lights out.
It's lights out and away we go.
And Away We Go podcast is produced by Diane Bortoletto and Monique Ciccato.
Let's do it.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.